question about what was actually my second book.
The Hand I Was Dealt,
The
right?
Hand I Was Dealt. Okay, so the book comes about. I'm actually in administrative segregation, the whole, right? Little squabble, but I'm up in here, and when you initially go to the box, the whole we call it the box. When you initially go off from there, you ain't got none of your property, so ain't gonna be no TV, no radio, no headphones, none of that type of stuff. So you sit there cold turkey with nothing. So during the course of the day, different people conversate or whatever, whatnot, because that's how you pass your time. You're gonna conversate, you're gonna write, you're gonna do something, find something, entertain yourself, TV, whatever, after you get that. So I'm laying back in my cell, and it's a gay guy, a boy, Savannah. And what Savannah is guarding, what you call that, attention. You know how they work. So we working. And he trying to hold the attention. So he telling stories about his life. And as I'm laying here listening to him, because it was, guys laughing and you hear guys making different comments, and I realized that he actually got an audience. I don't know if they ain't got nothing else to do or if the storyline is this interesting. But whichever it is, it's more than 3 or 4 people paying attention. You got a gallery of 30, 40 sales on second, 30, 40 sales on first, 30, 40 sales on base. And there's people listening to this guy. You can hear it. So, and telling me how crazy and outrageous his life was. The guy's actually the son of a heroin addict. She's a cocaine addict, and she's a prostitute because of this. This is his mother. And at the time of her birth, she was so sure that she wouldn't be able to take care of him that she left him at the hospital. Never even gave him a name. She dropped him and cashed out, and she was gone back to her habit. That's simple for her. That's how bad her life was, her thinking. And as I'm hearing this, I'm like, how outrageous is that? To be born into some shit like that. So now you got my attention. So now I asked a couple questions. Why you get raised? Who raised you? He tells me his grandmother and grandfather eventually found out he's been born. Makes the mother bring him down to the hospital and show him the baby. They get the baby, which is the most beautiful thing that could happen to him. Except they died 2 years later, back to back. This put him back in the same situation. He's right back into the system where he get molested and passed around up to him. All type of miscellaneous mayhem going up in the foster home. You know about it. So as he going through this, he decides at 11, 12, I'm getting up out of here. So he makes good on the escape. Finds his way back to the east side. Finds his mother. Of course, she done softened in the time he been gone. She's got a little older. She don't know how to send him away. So she tells him, you here? You here now? You can stay. So as she running her prostitute out of the house to take care of her habits, he gets caught up in it, watching, listening, hearing this shit. He's a child. He don't know no better. One of the customers who I suppose you would say he had an infatuation with his mom. He winds up eyeing them. And on an occasion where his mother leaves, the man approaches him and forces him into sex. This is a little boy. And so now, after you threaten his life and his mother's life, you repeatedly raping this guy for 2 years, this little boy, until his mother actually gets on to it. In her trying to defend it, which he doesn't know, he thinks that this is who kills his mother. Because he finds his mother dead, strangled in the bed as he comes home from school. What do his older brothers and sisters do? Collect what they could collect of the material shit that she did have and left the 14-year-old boy to his own devices. I don't know what you gonna do, but we up out of here. I'm just not believing somebody's life is this damn bad. So anyway, cut a long story real short, now he out on the track. And he making it do what he do. And that's the story of the hand I was dealt. The things that you're gonna have to buy the book. But watch this. Let me assure you this. At some point, he makes it enough way through his life to have acquired a sex change and actually become a woman. He felt like that's who he is.
Man.
He felt like he was this woman trapped in a man's body, if you will. I don't know his story other than what he told. But it made for a good read. It was interesting enough for me to walk the track with him and get his story. The rest of it.
Damn. So it's a lot of this derived from real stories.
That book is based on a true story. It's based on a true story. It's actually going on now. I actually talked to him since I've been home. That was my partner's cousin, or more. So I actually talked to him by phone. I ain't actually seen him physically, but I actually talked to him by phone. He doing all right. Doing all right. Still hooking. But he all right.
He's still in prison?
He home.
Oh, he home. Oh, wow.
Still hooker, though. He's still on the hooker tip. But he fine. I talked to him video, FaceTime. Standing right next to A1, his cousin. Willoughby Bay. That's their cousin. That's their cousin. Heavy.
That's deep.
But, and on to, the first book I actually published when I came home was The Swedish Taboo. Loved it. This book derived from my cellmate. My cellmate, I ain't gonna name no names, he's gonna be illegal. But my cellmate at the time had a jack, we call cell phones, jack in the joint. So he got this jack. He talked to his family every day. So in the process of this, I come to learn that this guy is actually in relationship with his first cousin. Like, no cap. You in a relationship with your first cousin, you got the pictures when y'all was 2, 3 in the Easter suits back to back. This really your mother's sister's child. But strange things have happened. Like anybody that had a kiss a cousin. If you want one yourself, you try to act like you don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so right off the rip, as he telling me this shit, I'm saying to myself, you the boldest guy I know about it though. Cause you doing it in the open, you don't care. They going on visits, they kissing on visits and all the time. They getting it in. You did. And so this is like, man, you can't disagree with the guy because he open about what he doing. He never told a lie. Mm-hmm. So how you gonna tell him he wrong? So at any rate, cut a long story real short, I thought that was just an interesting story because it was a taboo love. So now my mind get to working associated with him on what is this taboo in relationship? You got the brother with the white girl with the brother. I had an instant hit with that because my son had 3 or 4 kids by a European at the time, white woman. Snow game. And I done heard the stories about the things that had gone on with them simply because of their nationality, simply because of their race, simply because of who they are, who they were born as. Why you can't love who you love. The truth of the matter, one don't got to do with the other, but in our world it's taboo. So you got an interesting story in that. Hell of a dynamic because that's based on truity too. Where my son was actually there and actually had to deal with being called a nigga by her people. Where she was actually in my mom's home and being threatened by my son. They want to put hands on her. You acting too black. We think you was Mary J. Blige and his mama. We throw hands for that type of shit around here. So you got to look at what they going through just to be in love. Ultimately led to their break. But that ain't fair. But it's taboo. You dig? You got your man's going with your younger sister. And he know you a slime ball. You the slimiest of all slime balls. And he all his sister got. So how you think that was gonna turn out? That it's no happy ending that it couldn't be. You know, I couldn't be with my man's sister if I wasn't gonna be right about it. Mm-hmm. And we talking about your best friend. Right. They've been best friends since childhood to the tune of his mother is actually mothered both of them because of the absence of their parents who were away with drugs. You did. So, how awkward of a situation is it from the beginning? But they actually love each other. And that's true too. It's based on something true too. And so, how much authority they have over their own life? You telling me who I can love and who I can't love? Based on what? But that's a type of love. You got the fourth relationship, which would be Louis and Lisa, which is actually the first couple introduced in the book. You got a guy doing 25 years in prison, second degree murder. And you got his own girl who loved him enough to stay on during his time. The whole time she walked it down with him. But in the process of this, they found an attraction to each other that was never really explored. And it's comfortable for the both of them because of the dynamic of it. He in prison. So she basically get to access it when she wants to, when she don't, she don't. You know, for him, it ain't never a bad time to get a piece of mail. You went into it. You got a quarter wrong. If you get a bill, you want that. If I ain't got no mail, you don't care what it is. I didn't get nothing, CO. Did I stop it? CO. See, I know I got some mail. You know what I'm saying? So for you, it works, whatever it is. But you got this friendship, this family bond that actually becomes a relationship. But now you got all the issues that come with being in a relationship with what's next to your best friend, or what can only be termed as your best friend. So she know your whole family, and you know her whole family. And since your whole family know her, they sure that this is a game. It gotta be a game, because you don't do nothing but play games. Her family saying the same thing. How you in love with the gangster? Ain't he in jail for murder? Didn't he kill somebody you know? A couple of, what's this all about? You in love with the dope man? Ain't it joint? You know, that's taboo. So that makes up the cast of your Swedish Taboo, and that's how that came about. Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be a part 2 there, huh?
I could not. It actually became such an interesting story for me that, you know, your mind automatically go to work. So look for it. The Swedish Taboo. It'll be called the Swedish Deja Vu Taboo 2. That's what it is. The Swedish Deja Vu Taboo 2.
Will the stories, will it continue, or you gonna introduce some new relationships?
This is what my idea was. I can tell you that all the time. It's a good question. I want to continue the progress of the relationships, but I also want to introduce the gay relationship. I want to introduce what you call the flipper, who has the women and the guy, or the girl who has a male friend and a girlfriend, because that's they different dynamics, but it's taboo. But you got people out there who live like that. They play both ways. They play all the games. You know, that's taboo though. You know, so you want to explore some things like that, and because that's taboo, it's fun. It's fun. I think it'll be a good storyline, and I'm interested in working to it. But I want to bring back most of the cast, you know, because that was a good story. It was good stories. It was damn good stories. I had a fun time right now. Fun time right now. But I want to tell you about. Now I got a couple other books. You had the part 2 to the hand I was dealt. Part 2, can't take it back. It concludes and wraps everything that went on in part 1, and I promise you, you ain't gonna put it down. If you read part 1, you ain't gonna put it down. It's that good. I promise you, it's that good. But let me go on to the 4th book, which we're working on right now, and be up this month. From Ball Street with Love. Now, what I did with this was meshed 2 storylines, because I had the guys and some of the women who were very interesting characters in the Swedish Taboo. They were a circle. This circle was from Ball Street, you know. And Ball Street was something different. They was in a different league. They was a cut above. They was better than the other city runners, you know, the other city hustlers. They was the who's who. You did. So you took the who's who. I took the who's who from the Swedish Taboo, and I assigned them to the cast of From Ball Street with Love, which would be a foursome of women from Grand Rapids who was on the slide. They boasters and shoplifters, and they ain't for no games. And they also messing with the cracks. They addicted to the crack cocaine, and so they going wild. I promise you. Just to give you a couple tidbits, they robbed the mink store. They smashed the wall with a pickup truck and put the wall gang down, ran in, and snatched up as many minks as they could get away with. That's cold, man.
Real quick, you tell me what's the with love part? We understand the Ball Street, but what's with love?
With love. With love. It's a ghetto love, but it's love. Because it's from Ball Street with love. This what they got to give. That's what it's saying. You know, I actually stole that title from whoever the James Bond motherfucker was that had to from Russia with love. This Ball Street, but it's love. You get what I'm saying? You know, the ghetto version of shit. You did. So you gotta get that. You gotta get that. But one other thing before we go though, you're gonna have to wait for me, but I'm working on it. I'm writing a book that's about my life. As I understand it now, I don't think people really understand what happens to someone who grows up with drug dealers and stick-up men, pimps, players as role models. And you almost automatically grew up with that bullshit in the neighborhood. So consequently, my whole impression of what a man was about was wrong. And a lot of times it still is. We view things that's actually weakness as strength. And the things as strength that's actually weak as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And if you knew better, you would do better. You understand? They don't, at the end of the day, it don't define nothing but fucking up. But we don't see it that way. Fact. And so I'm chasing something ultimately in this dope game that I knew I couldn't have. That's why you call him the Poe, little rich nigga. He got the money, but he pissed poor morally. You killing your own people, you fucking them up, you robbing them, and you making sure they don't get out. But you think you winning, and they love you. So how crazy of a scene is it where the crooks is being idolized? Is what they talk about, not to defer too far from the movie, but what I'm talking about in the book rather. But your Quran teach you in Misery, which is chapter 44, about the misplacement of your morals and principles. We put instruments of death and gold and gems, and you wear them above your garments. Mm-hmm. I believe that's how it goes. And it's true. How many guns you seen on a chain? You showing symbols of destruction like it's the best thing in the world. The most brutal motherfuckers is a motherfucker's best friend in the joint. Best friend I am. Why is that? You don't got no love for the love. You got love for the hate. And you don't think you fucked up. And so I just felt like I had to. I'm interested, this happened just the other day, just to make the point about this. How fucked up this world is. I'm on my break at work. I work in a automotive type assembly line plant. But in there, they pay. And so you had a whole process going on with these auto parts. And so consequently, you're going to get hella dirty and dusty. It's oil and dirty this morning. All day it's blowing these fancy, cheap shit. But it's what they do. I left my break to go to the bank. I had to run to the bank, get a couple dollars. It was tight. Go off in the bank. Off the rip, it's a sister, too. Man, do you know, she looked at me like, I can't believe you. I'm like, to myself, lady, I'm at work. What would you rather have me doing, selling a bag of dope? I look good, but I ain't shit. You rather that than have me in this line trying to give me a couple dollars for some gas and a pack of squares. I'm at work. What would you have me do? So I moved past it. I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? You got to have tough skin out here. So I got my tough skin on. I keep it moving. I slide up. I got my 6 feet social distance going. She ain't got no mask on. I'm vaccinated too. This lady looked at me and took 2 steps forward like I was on fire, son. And I said, damn, is that serious? She looked back and literally rolled her eyes at me. I said, damn, if I had a bag of dope, you'd be just fine with it, huh? She ain't say nothing back though, so I get it that she probably finally got the shit. So, but I get one more, the triple play. And I was just deciding at that point, this world fucked up, man. I'm leaving out. I go to hold the door for the lady. She moved away from me holding the door. She was coming in, I was going out. I heard the door. She looked. She took a step back like you couldn't be holding the door for me looking like that. I say, have it your way, and let that motherfucker go. But I ain't feel right doing it. You did. A lot of times since I've been home, and another thing that made me feel like I had to write that book is we as a people do got to learn to love each other and support each other. My wife was telling me how, when I first came on, how we don't patronize our own people. You won't. It's outrageous that you won't love who love you. Why you want to see them with it? Why? It's one thing for them to create a world, any world, that caters to their people. It's life, though. But, because that makes sense. Because I love mine, too. I ain't tell you not to love your people. That's not what I said. But, if you understand that everything got a beginning and an end, and it's a process to get from one to another, why would you not try to help me, who used to sell dope, to become something better, to have an opportunity to give back? Because I want to give. I love my people. I couldn't imagine how beautiful this world was all the years I was gone. I just knew I missed home. But this is a beautiful world out here, if it's handled the right way. But poor little rich nigga is going to tell that story that a nigga ain't heard. It's a page turner, but it's a lot of truth for that that's probably going to be a little tough for these boys out here. Because they ain't men, and the women ain't ladies. Poor little rich nigga, pick it up.